Welcome, everybody, to the podcast. I'm your host, Steve Markin, always joined by my co-host,
Charles.
And for the second time, Clash assume heavyweight champions.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Clash light heavyweight champion.
Yeah, right.
And the comic book Arthur himself, the caveman Tyler Elkins is here. How you doing, Tyler?
I'm doing very good. It's great to be back.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
welcome back, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, since last we saw you, Motor City Mo, we're going to start with the comic books because I'm a nerd and I love comics. Me and Charles actually bought a copy of that.
Cool.
It was a little harder to pick up, like we talked about before, but we found it. Yeah, we actually got it off direct from your website.
Oh, good.
Yeah, the local comic shops didn't have it. It might be a good thing. They might have sold out. So
That is good.
Yeah.
That means we got some money we got to go pick up.
Have you read it? I like the comic. I'm trying to think.
Had a lot of local vibe to it.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
you definitely did. I saw the Midway and all that
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. And it's funny. So the main character can't feel pain, right?
But he can definitely feel pain. He just can't be killed.
Ah, that's what it was.
Also, he feels it, but he doesn't actually suffer from it. Basically.
Correct. Yes.
So yeah, very gritty, very local Detroit. Good job on you guys. And how many
The
years?
final product looked great.
Thank
It
you very
really
much.
did. It looked very professional and everything.
Thank
Unlike
you.
this podcast, it looked very professional.
Well, yeah. We got real lucky. Our artist is top notch. I mean, he's a phenomenal guy, Ryan Tavares. He's real good. And then we got lucky with just a talented group of people who could make, the story that we wrote look actually like a comic book. So
That always helps.
yeah, exactly.
Now, of course, number 2 is out now, right?
Correct. Yeah.
what-
number
Oh,
two.
it is out.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
out.
You want
Okay.
to plug that and give us a little preview of what you can expect in issue number 2?
Oh, sure. Episode 2. It's you read it, so there's sort of we set up the story in part 1. So there's a lot of building the characters, setting up the characters. There's not a whole lot of like what you would think in a comic book, a lot of fighting, a lot of action, stuff like that. It's more building those characters. So in episode 2, we deliver on that promise. So if you're a comic book fan, you get to see Mo get in there and kick somebody, uses that baseball bat a little bit, and he enters a trailer park full of redneck bikers, all with snake names.
Okay.
And he goes on maybe a little bit of a rampage. So that's
What
what you
city
can
is
see.
the biker bar located in? Where'd you guys locate the biker bar?
We didn't specify it, but I think that there's a few downriver places
Yeah?
that you can think of that probably suit it pretty well.
Does it rhyme with Monroe? Shatrock? Does it
Shatrock. I was born in Shatrock.
So that's number 2. How long did it take to get number 2 up off the ground?
So number 2 came out, I believe, a year after the first one, and that's sort of going to be, I think, moving forward, the pace at which we're going to try to go, just because it's expensive to try to get those comic books
Is it?
made.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, but we're doing really good. I mean, so the first one sold really well. For an independent comic book nowadays can, but yeah, it sold pretty well. We asked for less for the second Kickstarter. And, it's going well. I don't want to jinx anything, but
Cool.
yeah.
And where can I get this comic now?
So it's at the Asylum Collectibles up there, 9 Planet Comics on Van Born Road if you're in Dearborn Heights.
I've never been in that place. I always drive by and go, I need to stop there. What do they sell there?
Everything. They sell knives. They sell
So pick up a nice big sticker
Yeah, man.
and Tyler's comic book.
comic books, knives, action figures. They got a whole pro wrestling toy section.
wow.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah, one of the owners, Ben, is real nice, and the guru, John Kal-El. Talk to them. They'll
John Cal is he a Star Wars character? Like what is he?
That's more Superman.
He's definitely a character.
Yeah.
If he's listening to this.
Kal-El,
he's
that's Superman, isn't
yeah,
it?
Kal-El's
Yeah.
Superman. Yeah.
Know your nerd references,
I'm
Charles.
sorry.
But yeah, that's Dearborn Heights, and then I believe book 2 is in Green Brain right now.
That's a Dearborn
that's
institution.
in
That's what we
Dearborn.
went to. Yeah.
And what is the website you can buy them off of? That
It's
Charles?
threewisemenmedia.com, THREEYSMEN media.com.
Cool.
Man, so he's got now. How I saw you guys went to some local Comic Cons. How were those?
Oh, those are good. Those are always fun. I mean, even if we don't sell a whole lot of comic books, they're always a great time because you meet so many people.
Yeah.
Just the talking to people watching, that's 90% of the fun for me.
Yeah.
Are you going to be at the one in Novi coming up? When's
Motor
that, May?
City.
Yeah.
Mid-May. We were looking that up, by the way. I don't want to cut you off.
Sure.
My wife was super stoked. She thought Dwight Schrute was supposed to be there, but he canceled.
Oh,
Yeah, there's supposed to be a lot of Office people.
There's
there.
only 2.
2?
Yeah,
They advertised like 7.
Dude, we looked at it today because Heather wanted to go, legit style.
Yeah.
And there's Stanley and Creed are the only 2 that we saw. So,
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
But you guys going to be there?
Yeah, we're actually setting up. So this will be the first year that we have a table at that one. We're also going to be at the big one in Cobo, it's not going to be Cobo anymore, but Cobo Hall.
it's not. Wait. I need you
They're
to pause.
changing the name.
Are they really?
Yeah.
That's like a Detroit institution.
I know. Chemical
Wow.
Bank, I think, bought the rights to name it or something.
Oh, okay.
Chemical Banks
Yeah,
Arena.
Chemical Bank Hall.
Yeah, Hall.
Wow.
But yeah,
That's
we're
crazy.
this year we scaled back on the amount of Comic-Cons and tried to up the, I guess value of the Comic-Cons. I guess
that's
you would
cool.
say.
We got to do some on location stuff. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
at Motor City.
Well, I'll be headed in August to the Chicago one. So
Yeah.
Ooh, that'll be
I
fun.
can take the 360 camera and show
Yeah,
you some
we're
stuff.
gonna
yeah.
crash this mug. Yeah, we're
It's
gonna-
it's $60 a ticket, but I love it.
the
It's
Motor
a lot of
City
fun.
one was a little better. The Motor City we looked it up because I
Like
thought
30
it
something.
was like 35.
That's because half the celebrities cancel.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get who's gonna be there every year? There's usually local wrestlers always there.
Oh, yeah.
Like Diesel is always there. He's from
Shawn
Michigan.
Michaels is on the.
Oh, is he?
The
On the
big
boat.
one I saw was Jax from Sons of Anarchy. He's going to be there.
Charlie
Those
Hunnam
guys.
is
yeah.
career?
And
Is taking
Opie.
that big of a
Opie's going to be
nosedive?
there. Somehow they're doing yoga. I don't know if you guys have heard this or not.
No.
Heather kind
I
of
think
knew
they did
about it
last
yeah.
time.
Oh, is that
Because
what-
there's Trish Stratus was at the last one, if I'm not mistaken, and DDP. And I think they both did
dude,
yoga
DDP
sessions.
yoga, baby.
All these out of shape comic book collectors are gonna do yoga.
Dude,
They're all gonna be
DDP
laying
is
on the
pushing
ground.
that yoga, man. He's on Rogan doing. He's everywhere.
Bill bought it.
Did he?
Yeah.
I can tell by looking at him. He looks very limber.
Collects a lot of dust. So there you go. Look at our comic book nerdum, and of course, check out Motor City Mo. Good work from local guys. Now, I do have a gripe with you from Clash. We were going to go to the last one.
Well, hold on. You can't ignore the fact he brought the hardware
yeah,
today.
if you could
Let
see
the
it on the
audience
camera,
know.
they could see it.
You can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys changed your bell time. We were going to go to the Seize the Day.
Yes.
And we were ready to go at 8, and then it opened at 6:30 or something. So we missed most of the show, so we're like, oh, forget it.
We
We're gonna
screwed
stay
it up
in.
pretty bad.
It was our fault, but...
There was a main event that happened, fellas, and that was the one to see, obviously.
Oh, man.
But,
Sorry we didn't support.
No. Yeah, we did. We switched up the bell time mostly because our audience is families
kids,
and
yeah.
little kids.
Yeah.
So we were like, that's a much better time for those families, and it helped the turnout too.
Did it?
The turnout's been up.
That's good.
Since we changed it, so it's pretty good.
Okay.
So what was the big main event you were in that you won? Who did you win the belt from?
I won the championship from James Alexander, who was a Clash champion for over a year.
Oh.
Wow.
Big main event matchup, and yeah,
What
I
did
got
you
the
do? What was the
championship.
move that sealed it for you?
Well, you had Rhino on here, and he's famous for doing the gore. I'm a fellow Annapolis graduate. I do the spear because I'm a caveman. So that was the move that won us the championship.
Oh man, the crowd went crazy.
Crowd went wild.
What's the next local? When are you going to defend now?
So, well, I'm not going to defend at the next show. The next show, well, I don't even know what we're doing because Clash Wrestling still refuses to put me on posters, even though I'm the champion now.
What is this controversy?
So, yeah, it's Postergate. I believe we were talking about it last time I was here. Still going on. As
With the hardware, you
with
can't get
the
no love.
hardware, can't get any love. I mean, that's what professional wrestling promotions do, as we know, right? People in charge like to put down the fan favorites.
I know from listening to Steve, if you don't like your direction, you go to the AEW. Oh, sure. I don't know if you've ever heard of this.
Yeah, that league that nobody wrestles in, but everybody goes to.
Right. Yeah, I don't think that they're going to be offering Elk any big money contracts like that. But hey, we never know, right?
You're working towards it. It's
I'm
just-
working towards
You
it.
start with a little momentum and just keep it going.
Just move to Florida and hope to get a job.
Yeah.
So there you go. And so the next event, you don't know when it is?
Oh no, the next event is going to be in the Brownstown Sports Center.
Oh,
and it's
changing.
actually March 29th. So it'll be
Clash
next
is moving locations.
Just for the show. It's
okay.
Think of it as like a spring tour. Is the way
okay.
Is it a charity show or is it a regular part of the storyline?
No, it's going to be a real show.
Is it canon?
It's going to be canon.
Canon?
It's not going to be a one shot. It's going to be a canon show.
We might have to go to that in Brownstown. We'll have to go down. We'll take a
see
road
the new
trip.
facility.
Yeah, see what's going on down
Wow.
there. So how hard is it to take apart that ring and travel it all the way down to Brownstown?
It's going to be miserable.
Not your problem. As the talent,
that's true. When you're the champ, you don't got to worry about setting up.
It's gonna be all those dudes. That one guy with the no sleeves, and he's always like, that guy's issue.
Yes.
What is that guy's name? The guy that works security all the time with no sleeves.
Mike?
Is it Mike?
sounds
There's
right.
a few. There's a few.
Yeah,
He takes his job
Yeah.
way too seriously,
Yeah.
and he's clashing.
He's protecting the crowd.
He's protecting the crowd. That's right. And I tell you what, if they weren't building that ring, then I'd have to. So I'm very happy to have him there.
Well, congratulations on the big win.
Thank you very
Yes.
much.
So how many years now has Clash been around?
Clash has been around for over 10 years. This was Seize the Day 12, so I think that makes it 11 years because I think their first event was the first Seize the Day.
Oh, okay.
How many years now have you been in it?
So I've been wrestling for 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, going on number 11. 2008 was my August 2008, so it'll be 11 years coming up soon.
Jeez.
Goes fast.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're 40.
Right. Well, I'm 32, so it's coming up.
You're gonna be like that movie, The Wrestler. He's gonna be sitting there. Do the Ram Jam.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Great movie. So that's good. So yeah, Clash. You catch Tyler, and of course, Motor
They
City
got a
Mo.
pretty good website too. Clash's website's pretty good, so you can get info there. I'm sure.
And a little insider tip: if you buy your tickets on the website, you save a little bit of money.
Yeah, there's a little discount.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's always a good thing too. So Clash. So there you go. Anything else you want to promote? Anything other?
Plug away,
irons in-
Tyler.
irons in the fire.
No,
Steve
I
tells
think
us we've
that's-
got a multitude of listeners now.
Sure. Oh well, I guess there is the YouTube channel. I would be remiss if I didn't promote that. We have the Three Wise Men Media YouTube channel
yes.
where I do a little character as Elk.
Yeah.
You know, used to do like a lot of wrestling lists, but everybody kind of does that. So now I give like fighting tips.
Okay.
If you will, I'll react to certain videos, like I reacted to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. All kinds
Are we
of
still
things.
ranking everything based on Ghostbusters or whatever?
No,
last
That
time?
was Space Jam. That's
Space
my
Jam.
brother.
Yeah, okay. Is he still
Yes.
working that?
He's
Yeah.
still working
Yeah,
that
okay,
a little
okay.
bit. We're
saw
getting
the
a little
video.
bit more away from Space Jam,
Yeah.
but yeah,
he
he's still
went to
doing it.
Comic-Con and he had, I think, a Space Jam figure and he's just walking around with it. Is that what it was?
It's the Michael phone. So it's a little Michael Jordan Space Jam figure, and we took a lavalier microphone and taped it to it. So that's his microphone.
He's branding.
That's funny.
Yep.
So I know you're a big, you're touring and you're a very busy man.
Yeah, sure.
But you know WrestleMania is coming up, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And so far, we're going to do a little 3 minutes of wrestling in a little bit. But what are your thoughts so far leading up to WrestleMania? Is there anything you're excited for, or you might just say, yeah?
Well, I was very excited for Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch. I thought that they were doing a really good job with that. But now I almost feel like they've jumped the shark on it a little bit. So my anticipation for it isn't as high as it was because now you got Charlotte involved, and I don't know. The storyline isn't doing it for me.
They
like
also
it
got her
was.
husband way involved.
Yeah, that was
As like an MMA person, I know that Travis Brown or whatever's in the middle of everything.
yeah.
I'm like, what?
I did like that on Raw when they did like that whole thing and he snatched her up from behind the barricade. I did like that, so they're kind of winning me back. And then Kofi, I'm excited to see Kofi after all these years. Hopefully, get a good
Title
run
shot.
with the title. Right.
How long do you think? They'll probably give it to him, maybe take it away in about a month.
Oh, sure. I think that's how that'll work. Yeah.
Kofi Kingston's part of the New Day. That's that. Like they.
I'm well versed. I've been here for many 3 minutes of wrestling. No.
So, but now, before we get more deep into wrestling, that's a little later on. I did bring a taste test for us here, Tyler.
Yeah.
You're gonna get some free chips here.
Oh, great.
Now, full disclosure, my wife and daughter did try these.
Yeah, we already opened the bag. They're not stale.
Yeah. These, what are they, Charles?
So apparently these are Lay's Wavies. They're electric lime and sea salt flavored chips.
Every
Yeah.
year, Lay's likes to bring out these weird exotic flavors. Like they had chicken and waffles one year.
The chicken and waffles I've had, they're not too bad.
Yeah, so and this is their
Grab a
new
grip
one
on that time.
for this
See
year.
what we got here.
These
I got a big one.
super lime chips here.
Yeah, so is this one of those do us a flavor things, or is this just a random thing that came out
Well,
with?
you look on the back of the bag. There's 3 other flavors they're coming out with.
So yeah, it's usually turn up the flavor. We got the lime salt, flaming hot dill pickle,
That sounds disgusting.
and kettle cooked beer and cheese is also available.
That don't sound too bad, but the flaming hot, that's a lot of lime.
It's a lot of lime.
That is an overbearing amount of lime.
It's very lime forward.
Wow. Anyone else want to hit another one of these?
No, I don't.
You good?
No, I'm good on that. Thank you.
That is so much
When
lime.
two big guys turn down chips, you know they're terrible.
Dude, that is,
That's what I'm saying.
it's like a margarita threw up on a chip.
Yeah, that was.
It's a lot of lime.
I mean, if you really like lime, that's your chip.
Oh, for sure.
But flaming hot pickle, that sounds gross. I don't know if I can handle that one. I'm not a big fan of the flaming hot stuff to begin with.
My brother is. He loves the flaming hot chips.
Oh, he
Flaming
does?
hot Cheetos, everything. I don't know how he does
I
it.
can eat them in small doses, but man, when those kids sit down and rip through a bag, I'm like, that is
yeah.
impressive
See,
stuff.
if you're 20 and under, that's all you eat is flaming hot chips. And
Crazy.
Cheetos.
I can barely get through any of those Andy Caps hot fries. Remember those? Oh, my goodness.
So you're a no on
I'm
the
a
electric
no on
line,
the
and
electric
Tyler,
line.
you're a no.
I'm going to say I'm a no, but it was too much lime. If they could dial that back, that might be a good chip.
Tostitos makes like a hint of lime chip.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a
those
pretty
aren't
good
bad.
Chip. I don't. That's an over the head with the lime.
Right.
They're like, really hit him with the lime. Ugh.
So I think that's a 3 no's on the lime sea
Yeah.
salt chip here.
So there you go. A little bit of the Lay's. Every year they have the weird flavors. We'll eventually get the flaming hot pickle in here.
Yeah, great. The flaming hot pickle. That's his pro wrestling move.
The flaming
Just so
hot
you know.
That's how
Steve
I
will
finish
hit you
off
with the
every-
flaming hot pickle. It's all
So where that pickle's undefeated.
Yeah.
So there you go. Now, like I said, I know you travel the world a lot, Tyler.
Oh, sure.
So me and Charles took time and watched some movies for you to recommend,
Oh, great.
and we're going to take a little quick look at some movies. The first one is the Academy Award-winning Green Book. Has anyone else in this room besides me seen this?
No, but this is the big winner. Best Picture, Mahershala Ali
Yeah.
won everything.
Mahershala Ali is excellent in this movie. Viggo
yeah,
Mortensen.
Viggo Mortensen's a racist.
Well, he may be racist, but it was a good movie.
Was it a good movie?
I usually disagree with the Academy Awards, like Life
wow.
of Pi and all them. I don't know if you guys watch it. Terrible. But this one is a really good movie.
Really?
Viggo Mortensen plays a meathead
Yeah.
Bronx guy. He's a night. He's a bouncer at a local club.
It's set, what, in the 50s?
1962.
62, early 60s.
What's the black guy's name? I always forget his name.
Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala Ali. It's not a common name.
Yeah.
He
it
plays-
rolls off the tongue.
He plays like this genius piano player, and he's a doctor. They call him Dr. Schultz or something through the whole thing. And basically, he hires Viggo Mortensen to take him to the South on a tour. He's doing a musical tour.
Now, the name Green Book is supposed to be, wasn't there a book published back
Yes,
in
that's
the
what's
day?
kind of cool. There's an actual book published that tells colored people where they can go in the South to where they won't get harassed when they put time at hotels and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I mean, it's a very race-based movie, but they don't like lecture you or anything. They're just like, this is how
You
it
know
was.
it exists, and
You
then
knew it
they-
exists. This
yeah.
is how it was, and a great movie. Highly recommend it.
Wow.
Probably my favorite movie of the year, above
Oh.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Wow.
If you get a chance,
How were? Do you think Mahershala Ali should have won, or do you think he was amazing in it? Like,
yes, he was great.
Wow.
He played a lot. The piano.
Do you
and
think
everything.
Viggo got hosed by not?
Who won outside of Viggo?
It was Rami Malek won.
I think Rami Malek played overall better, but
Yeah?
Viggo Mortensen was pretty good.
You're really high on this movie.
I really
Yeah,
liked
yeah.
it.
Wow.
I just because it really showed you the differences in the two characters. He's a big meathead, you know.
Yeah.
He talks like, you know, a big meathead, and this guy is a very educated musical
Sure.
genius. And watching those two clash and travel,
But it wasn't
And the
over the
characters-
top on anything.
No, and it was a true story. And the characters developed throughout the movie. I highly recommend it. So in between matches, Tyler, go to Family Video, take a chance, rent it. I liked it. Now
It's
the
directed by one of the Farrelly brothers, right? Which I
Yes.
thought was interesting.
Yes, yeah. And like I said,
Of
they
Dumb
show,
and Dumber fame.
Yeah, right.
they show the pictures of the real people at the end. And Viggo Mortensen and the other guy's character, they stayed friends in real life till 2013. Then they both passed away within a month
wow.
of each other. So, a very good movie. I highly recommend it.
So you think the Academy got this one right?
They got this one right.
Wow.
Because Black Klansman, which was
It's
about
coming to
race,
HBO, by the way.
Black Klansman felt preachy at times, and then even when they switched over to the Donald Trump stuff at the end of Black Klansman, sorry, spoilers. This movie never does that. This is like this is the race. This is what was happening, you know, and we're just showing you a story that happened in all this. And I liked it. I thought it was a really good movie.
Wow.
Michelle agreed with me too, so I used to bounce things off my wife, and she hated it. I'd be like, I'll be quiet about it. But, now the next one I saw, was Overlord. I don't know if you guys remember the.
This is the
previous,
J.J. Abrams thing.
Yeah, it was a
isn't it?
World War II movie.
With zombies.
Yeah,
It's like a bad video game.
Yeah, it's like Call of Duty Zombie.
Yeah.
They're not zombies. Well,
They're infected.
technically they're zombies. So there was always rumors back in World War II that the Nazis experimented on a lot of people, mostly Jewish people, unfortunately. And well, basically, this one small village and these high up Nazis, they developed a serum that can reanimate you from death.
Okay.
And you come back super strong and stuff. So it's like
powered
zombies.
Isn't it
really.
like how Bane exists? or
Yeah,
whatever?
kind of. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, right?
And then this troop of Americans that paratroop in, they have to blow up this tower that happens to be above this testing center where they're doing this to all this weird people. It could have been a really good war movie, and then it went through this schlocky, weird sci-fi stuff. It's like it should have picked one or the other, and it kind of tried
So
to
you're
do
saying
both.
like a J.J. Abrams war movie would be really good?
Yeah. 'cause-
Add this weird schlockiness to it.
yeah,
You're not gonna-
like the opening scene, they're all in B-52 bombers, and the whole sky's covered in them, and like the first 45 to 50 minutes is all just a war movie, and it's pretty good. But then it goes to the schlocky. It even has like weird 1950s sci-fi music to it, or it's like dun 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 dun. And it comes out. I'm like, what the hell? So, not a terrible movie. If you're bored late night, watch it on cable. I'd give it probably a 6 out of 10.
Wow.
Or Green Book, I'd give it 9 out of 10. So there you go. Those are the two I saw. And what did you see this week, Charles?
So the big one that I happened to catch it yesterday. I'm not a huge college basketball guy, so I happened to be just watching like regular TV yesterday, and I stumbled upon the Overwatch League, which is esports where these people are playing Overwatch.
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you, people. I don't know how anyone watches this. It is so terrible. It's going 3,000. The production value is fantastic. Like, they put some serious coin into this. But, like, I don't know who's watching it. Like, to me, it was just the worst thing to watch.
I saw the one on TBS where they do Street Fighter, and I like Street Fighter, but it bored the hell out of me.
Yeah,
watching
I
people
don't
play.
understand.
Could you
Like,
watch esports? Is that something you could do?
I've seen it a little bit, but it's like you're saying, I've got like a 10-minute attention span for it.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, look at this, and
And
then
then
I'm like,
it's like,
okay,
yeah.
who's sitting down for hours? And then they have like
Someone
teams.
is, though. It's getting
They've
popular,
got like
more and more
so
popular.
They set it up like tournament style. It had these teams from like San Francisco, Philadelphia, and they're flying them in to do this. I don't know, man. This is terrible. I don't know who is checking this out. To me, in a world where I can go play the game, why am I going to watch? But then again, Twitch streaming is enormous.
I was
so
just about to say, Twitch is huge.
I'm just
right now.
out of touch, I think, is what it boils down
Yeah,
to.
we're just holding out of touch. That's all
Yeah,
that
because
one
I
is.
don't know if to me, it's like, you know, I can't go out and play baseball because I don't have 9 friends. But like, would you rather watch baseball if you had an opportunity to play baseball? I'd much rather go and play. And you can play Overwatch. So who's sitting here watching someone else do it?
The big ones are Overwatch, League of Legends, Street Fighter, and some Madden, but Madden's not. That's waning. I catch Madden on YouTube. I do find myself watching it because I want to see what cheap.
I was
going
gonna say, I think they're
don't you?
Oh, yeah.
you're pulling tips or something. I get that, but like, this is on ABC had this on. I mean, this is not like I was on like CBS on the Ocho or something. Like, this is
I'm surprised
crazy.
it was on
ABC, and I was just blown away. But the production, they had 3 talking heads in front of it. They had graphics galore, and they had replays and everything. And I was just like, God, who is watching this garbage? But
I hate it when I watched the Street Fighter one. It was the one Shaq sponsored. You somehow. But I hated the announcers. I'd rather just watch the game and listen to the game sounds and the two guys playing and cussing. Then they, he just pulled a 5-frame rate triple combo. It's like,
and it's like that. It's
I
very
know,
similar.
it's terrible.
You're watching it from a different perspective, but then they launch you into certain people's like first-person deal. Production value is fantastic on this. I mean, but it must be someone's watching it because it wouldn't be on ABC if no one's watching it. But
Yeah, that's true.
It is not for
like
me.
you're saying, the production value, they're selling out arenas doing it.
Yeah,
Get it, man.
Kids are signing
So-
like $100,000 contracts to play esports.
Well, and these were like based in cities, so
Yeah.
like we would be like the Dearborn downtowns or whatever. And like it's crazy. I don't get it.
There's a 2K basketball one too.
I was just about to say, the
That was the other
NBA
one.
does that, though,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I don't know when it's
So
on
it's-
and where it's at, but it's out
Yeah,
there
I've never
somewhere.
seen, but they're getting $30,000 a year just
Yeah.
as like a base pay
So like at minimum, you're still got a decent little career. Yeah,
to
it's
play
crazy.
video games.
And it's They have like 5 dudes on each side.
This is why we're doomed as a species. All the other generations can do nothing but video games, YouTubing.
Oh, yeah.
No one knows how to change a tire anymore.
Yeah.
We're all going to be terrible.
It's-
We are doomed.
And like I said, it just blew me away that this was on ABC.
Yeah,
That's a major network, dude. And like,
Well, it's got to be cheap for them. I mean, what are they doing? They're just airing a room full of kids playing
it didn't
games?
seem live. It was, like I said, it had a lot of post-production on it.
Compared to a regular like sitcom, it's probably a drop in the bucket to air these things.
Yeah, I guess. And then there's got to be an audience. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're a TV station, you don't put something on that no one's watching.
What were the ads like during that? It had to be for like every video game known to man.
Mountain Dew.
There was like
Mountain
there
Dew,
wasn't-
Doritos, and
nothing
Apex
really
off of
stood
EA.
out. I think it's just a core like ABC like commercials. I don't even think they tailored the commercials. It was like yesterday at 5:00.
Oh, TBS when you watch it, it's like he said, Mountain Dew, Doritos,
Oh, yeah.
everything Electronic Arts.
No, it doesn't stand out to me, I guess is what I would say. So
Interesting.
it was weird, man. And it was supposed to be on. I saw it again today as I was flipping around. I watched a little bit of the tournament, and then I flipped past it. But then they had a special report that preempted it. But
All right, so you get your brother, and the 4 of us will just start our own E-team.
we're not Korean. I don't know what we're gonna do.
I don't know how good we'd be.
Yeah, we probably get smoked.
Right.
That's a sad thing. We'll have to take up like Tetris or something.
Right.
Obscure
Something
Yeah.
that nobody plays
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. All 4 of us kick ass and Miss Pac-Man.
Dude, that's crazy. I don't
Punch
know,
out.
but yeah, Overwatch League on ABC, man, crazy.
So now, what this next one is? This a documentary or a show?
Yeah, so it was on the Paramount Network last week, and we had talked about it in our kind of our stand-up special episode that we did, where we talked about a lot of the stand-ups that we like, and how Richard Pryor is supposed to be huge in the comedy world, but we're both kind of we missed it on some.
Yeah.
And this documentary just goes to show. I mean, he was so big from the 60s into the 70s. It's called I Am Richard Pryor. I'm sorry. And it was a 2-hour-long documentary on the Paramount Network where they had a bunch of talking heads. They had some people like his last wife that he had. And they go through and they chronicle his life. I mean, he had a crazy life. I don't know much about his stand-up. That's not, again, that's kind of lost. But as far as a story, it was really fascinating. It was a guy who's, his mom was a prostitute and his grandmother ran the brothel that his mom worked out of and stuff. And it was just a crazy story. But one of the things that came out of it, and it just reiterates to me, I love Mike Epps, man. He is hilarious, and
he is a funny guy.
He has such reverence for like Richard Pryor. It's unbelievable. Like he can tell you like how he felt in certain ways, and he must have been like tailored by like the love of Richard Pryor and stuff like that. But if you're kind of that ilk, he kind of fizzled for us in the early 80s,
I
mid
just
80s.
do more of his movies than his
Yeah, the
stand-up.
toy.
The toy.
Yeah, and so
Bruce-
that's my
Brewster's
favorite
Millions.
Richard Pryor movie, and they didn't talk about it one time.
The toy?
They didn't say anything about the toy.
Oh,
and for our generation, that was
Brewster's
kind of the
Millions? Did they
last
talk about
hurrah.
that?
They talked a lot about Brewster's Millions and stuff like that.
And the stuff with Gene Wilder. Him and
Yeah,
Gene
a lot
Wilder.
and they also talked about like a little bit of a beef that they had because Richard Pryor had done so many drugs and stuff like that. It was compelling. They didn't shy away from a lot of stuff. And then at the very end, his last wife actually spread his ashes in Hana, Hawaii, and stuff like that. It was compelling.
How many wives that guy had?
Oh, he had quite a few, man. He
likes to
actually
collect them.
divorced and then remarried the last one. So it's a complicated dude, man. But I thought it was interesting to kind of see people's reverence for him. Didn't change my thing. He's of a different generation from me. I don't have that like diehard love for Richard Pryor. I know him from the toy, like Tyler's saying. And that's really not what he's meant for, but he was a groundbreaking dude, and it was a neat documentary. So,
yeah, Richard Pryor and Red Fox are the two that everyone always talks about as groundbreaking.
yeah,
as far
and
as
I'm sure they
black
are, but
comedians.
like I said, someone who was born in '79 and raised as an '80s kid, like,
Yeah.
kind of, he transitioned at that point. He was definitely different from what people other know.
So check out The Green Book, very good movie. Overlord, wait for cable. Overwatch League, if you're bored eating Doritos and drinking Mountain Dew one night. And then I Am Richard Pryor on the Paramount Network. Check that out if you get a chance. Now, Tyler, here we go. We're going back into wrestling.
All right.
My favorite segment. I know you know a lot about this. What are your thoughts, first off, about when they brought Kurt Angle back, since he's been back from TNA, and this retirement show he's been putting on and who he's wrestling at WrestleMania? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, initially I was excited. I'm not going to lie, because I was always a really big Kurt Angle fan, being that, I wrestled in high school, coach high school wrestling. He was an Olympic wrestler, so I was always a big Kurt Angle fan.
But that was a wholly different time. The man cannot move anymore.
Now
the injuries,
he is stiff as a board.
Unfortunately, I think his body is it's definitely betraying him at this point in his life. So, it's wrestling, so you got to send these guys off with a nice little tour or whatever. Give them, kind of one last big match, and I wish it was a different opponent.
That's
I don't
what I was
know.
going to ask you.
Who is the last opponent? Who's
Baron Corbin. He's a turd sandwich.
I don't think I've ever heard the name.
He's a newer guy. He's tall.
Yeah, very
bald
tall.
head. He wrestles in like a business suit.
Yeah.
I swear to God, he does.
Okay.
Yeah,
Erwin
like how
Arceister.
IRS guys.
Yeah. Okay.
But I just don't think that, because Kurt is limited at this point, still better than I'll ever be, even though he's got broken necks and all that stuff. But I don't know if Baron Corbin's the guy who's going to get the best out of him. I would have thought it might have been, even like a guy like Shelton Benjamin, or even John Cena, just because of the spectacle.
Well, that's the rumor. The rumor is Cena's going to jump Corbin before the match, and then Cena's going to come out and wrestle.
He's been kind of just a mentor, right? Like he was supposed to be that whole Ronda Rousey mentor thing. I thought he'd scaled back immensely.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He did.
Yeah, because he was the GM for a little bit. He didn't really do too. He's only wrestled, 3 times since they brought him back?
Yeah, but they've brought him back, and he's gotten squashed pretty good on Raw quite a few times against people. And then people, you're like, really? This is why they brought Kurt Angle back? The rumor is because John Cena started his career against Kurt Angle, ruthless aggression. So they think it'd be a good end cap that Cena comes back. I have a feeling it's a movie scheduling conflict thing that's going on right now. And
what happened to the whole Mick Foley thing about go out on your back?
Well, Ric Flair did, and then came out of retirement 8 years later. but that's why. If it's Baron Corbin's probably going to win because he's a younger guy up and coming. If it's John Cena, then he might possibly beat John Cena. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not excited about the match in any way.
Because you had mentioned he's officially going to retire, right? Because in the earlier 3 minutes you said that. So this is just that last hurrah, and like you said, that whole thing.
And, people were hoping for Cena or Undertaker, and he comes out and says Baron Corbin. The whole crowd was like, what?
Yeah.
Did they set it up at all? Did they lay some groundwork?
No, it came out of nowhere.
So there's not even any kind of reference as far as like, oh man, we're finally.
It was terrible.
I mean, there's just so many other younger guys I think you could get a better match out of and could use that.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, the whole go out on your back thing. I don't know.
Are you excited about Baron Corbin?
No.
See, none of us. So he's going to barely move around, and then he's going to job after about 5 minutes to a crap wrestler. So
he can barely move. He's had some Austin fuses and stuff, right? Because he cannot move.
So I wouldn't be shocked if they put him on the pre-show.
How old a guy is Kurt Angle at this point?
He's got to be around 50.
Yeah, I would think at least.
That's a long in the tooth for a pro wrestler, man. Yeah.
Well, ask Ric Flair how that works.
Sting's talking about saying that he'd come out for one more match against Undertaker. He's 60. Sting's 60 now. So.
Best thing about Sting, he's got one of those big bald spots right here. And he refuses to shave the head. He just kind of brushes it over.
Just kind of
so in wrestling, when he goes to stand up, you see the big bald spot. Actually, John Cena's getting the same bald spot.
Oh. Is that why he's got rid of that weird hair he had? Like that weird
dad
brush?
hair? They say he looked like
really
JBL
creepy.
with that hair.
In Bob's favorite movie of 2018 through 2002.
Blockers. So we touched on it earlier. And you can take this one here, Tyler. So Ronda Rousey, they flipped her around now. So now she's a heel big time.
I've heard. Yeah.
Yes. So the only way to calm her down is her husband comes in. It's almost like when the
baby.
Yeah, when the Hulk's on a rampage in the Avengers.
She's just armbarring everyone. Like,
yeah. So this past Raw, her husband had to come in and hug her and calm her down,
soothe the savage beast.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
She must have asked to get her husband in on some storylines. What are your
they
thoughts?
They got bills to pay.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like it a little bit because I think we've all been in situations where there's that one lady who's just a maniac, and then the boyfriend has to come and try.
Travis Brown's a big boy,
right?
Man.
And he's a
Travis
big dude.
Brown is a large man.
When's the last time he actually fought in the UFC?
It's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been a while. But he got into that whole domestic violence thing. It's a whole weird path that Travis Brown had. So his previous wife filed charges against him and everything. So there was a weird. And then when Ronda Rousey got with him, there was a whole big backlash. It's BS, but it could be interesting, I guess.
So they're slowly working him in.
Yeah, they're slowly working him in. I don't know. I thought it was a good visual of her, because this was, I think, last week, her standing in the corner, surrounded by security guards, ready to fight, and then her big, huge, giant husband has to come in and swoop her away. I thought that was a good,
but
one
you
of the
gotta
good
admit,
last
Tyler,
images.
it's kind of funny. So she's going Hulk smash.
Yeah.
And here comes a dude and just scoops her. And
That's
takes
very
her
true.
out.
Comes in a bigger
That's
Hulk.
very true.
Yeah,
Takes
you
her
know what I
away.
mean?
Yes, that's
It's
very
like,
true.
she's gonna kill everyone. Here comes a dude. Whoop,
Yeah.
see ya.
Maybe this is his in to get a WWE contract.
It's gotta
Maybe.
be. Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know.
But I still think that Ronda's out after WrestleMania. I believe the TMZ reports that says she wants to have a kiddo and all that kind of stuff. So maybe she works him in and leaves him behind, and she goes and has a kid. I'm just saying, could be a theory.
What's he gonna do? Wrestle the girls for her?
No, but they're trying to obviously
yeah.
there's every female or a lot of female wrestlers have male ties, and then
Yeah, maybe. So again, WrestleMania's coming up now.
April 7th, right?
April
Not
7th, yeah.
I'll be honest, this WrestleMania not too hot on a lot of the stuff. The one I'm really looking forward to, and Joe's gonna rip on me because every time I tell him about this guy, he always shits the bed.
Dude.
AJ Styles versus Randy Orton should be an excellent match.
Should be.
Should be.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if you
On
watched
paper.
it. What was the pay per view with him?
Dude,
versus,
he wrestled the
he
same
wrestled
dude, Samoa Joe,
it
seven
was
times.
Just
and
a
it was
boring match. It was
him
brutal.
and BV were like, I'm going to show you what
he's
this can
good?
be and all this kind of stuff. He's a good tacticianer and all this kind
And
of
he
stuff.
shit the bed. The
And
match was terrible.
even last week when BV had us watching that New Japan Wrestling with him was terrible then.
Yeah. So hopefully AJ Styles. I think that's the match that can steal the show. What is the match you're looking forward to, Tyler?
I think at this point it's Kofi versus Daniel Bryan.
Now, are they going to do that straight up, or are they going to try to do a triple threat, or what do you think?
I hope it's straight up, and I hope it. I think it could steal the show. I mean, I think Kofi's been in the New Day, so he hasn't really, had a chance to show what he can do as a singles wrestler. But he used to be great. He used to be real good. And Daniel Bryan, he's got a different character. I think it's very interesting. I love the recycled belt. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, they made his belt out of hemp or hemp.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hemp
That's
and
pretty
recycled oak, and but
that was funny.
I think that's the one that I'm looking for. I don't know. Depending on what they do with Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda, that could also be.
Didn't you say now the Becky Lynch chick is coming off an injury, correct?
Yeah, but I think
Is
she-
that
I think
legit
she-
or is that a hand?
It was legit 3 months ago. I think
Yeah.
she's been fine since then. But they still ham it up and have her come down with a.
So I guess, let me ask a question. What is the main event?
It's going to be the girls' match: Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte
Wrestling
Flair.
has come a long way. You're telling me the headline at WrestleMania
There's going to be those three girls.
is a three-way chick match.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Lesnar is going to wrestle Seth Rollins,
Yep.
which Seth Rollins can put on good matches. I don't know if Lesnar's going to let him.
Well, he let Finn Balor had a really good match
Yeah,
with
that
him.
is true.
So.
That is true. Every once in a while, Lesnar can pull out a really good match.
Yeah.
It just depends if he's motivated or not. After seeing his salary that one week we went over, I don't see why I'd be motivated. Did you see he makes $12 million a year? He's
Oh,
the
my
highest paid in
goodness.
WWE.
Probably by a wide margin. I would
Yes,
assume,
the
too,
next
right?
one was what, $8 million.
John Cena.
and that's Cena.
Yeah, and he's not even barely wrestling.
Right.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns was the only guy in the top.
5.
Yeah.
Right.
So you got that one. What's the other? There's going to be like 4 women's matches. You know that, right? That might be a little much.
And we are going to live commentary to WrestleMania, and I'm going to rip on all of it.
And I can't be able to defend it. So it's Asuka or Soka versus someone. I don't know. Mandy Moore, I think it is.
Yeah, Mandy Rose.
There's gonna be
Mandy Moore. Mandy Moore's on This Is
Mandy
Us,
Rose,
right?
sorry.
That'd be a huge gap for them for
There's going to be a
WrestleMania.
triple threat tag team title match for
Yeah.
women. And then I think there's another women's match. I'm not sure. I lose track after the women's start. So there's like 4 women's matches at WrestleMania.
Well, it's
One
going
of
to
them's
be
the
a
main
6-hour show. So
Yeah.
they got to fill it up.
Yeah, and then you got
Are
the
we going to
Battle
live
Royal.
stream all 6 hours?
No. We'll go 4 at most. So
jeez.
here, a little look at WrestleMania, a little look at what Rousey's doing, and then, of course, Kurt Angle, who walks like a stiff board. Now, the other article I found, now into the UFC 145 seconds of MMA.
Yeah.
Dana White, in an interview, said that the Brock Lesnar / who's he fighting? Cormier.
Daniel Cormier was
Yeah.
their heavyweight champ. Or
This was
like
supposed to
lightweight.
happen in January, but didn't. And he said that he's still waiting to get that match
He's
going.
waiting for all the stuff to pee out because I'm telling you, he's never going to clear.
Oh, and so they're
And I'm
waiting
going
for
to
him
talk
clear the
about that
drugs.
too. So T.J. Dillashaw just got pinched and had to vacate his title. They're saying he failed a USADA test because of a diuretic. So that's how stringent the MMA or the UFC's testing is. There's no way on God's green earth that Lesnar is even going to come close to passing that. If you're telling me that like these guys are getting pinched for like basically water pills, imagine what's in Lesnar's body. Dude, I'm telling you.
Cheerios and oats.
Yeah, sure it is.
Raw meat.
Yeah, just
Fish.
protein.
Yeah.
Fish and eggs.
So that was apparently he's hoping to hear from him this summer from the article you referenced, and it is a big interview. I just don't see it happening. And if they do, they're just going to have to accept he's going to pee dirty. There's no way around it. He's not going to pass the USADA test. There's no way. And then so with that, like I said, the bantamweight champ T.J. Dillashaw, who the UFC wants to make like a poster boy of, but he got smoked by Henry Cejudo like on that first ESPN fight night, so they don't know what to do of him. And then the testing off of that fight is what he actually failed. So now all the little guys are thrown into a complete frenzy. You know, there's a bunch of 125, 140-pound dudes in the UFC screaming that they want title shots and all this, and I quite frankly don't care. You know what I mean? Like you get these little guys, I'm like, okay, great. But there was ESPN, the ESPN merger with UFC stuff is fantastic for a fight fan. They are putting on so many UFC events. It is unbelievable. I'm getting one a week now.
Yeah.
Like every week. There's an ESPN Plus event that just happened last night. A guy named Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fought Anthony Pettis. Now, this Anthony Pettis guy came up a weight class. The Stephen Thompson guy was beating the brakes off of him and just got caught in the face, and his head went kablooey, and he just completely lost. It was the craziest thing. Like, the Pettis guy was just pouring blood, and then ended up just pulling it out. That's why I love the UFC, dude. It's just so frantic, and Tyler's described it from his own MMA days. You just don't know. You get caught, and you're just toast. That's why when these guys only have, like, one or no losses, it's an amazing feat. It really is, because you could just be... The Stephen Thompson guy was dominating. He's a real karate guy. He's kind of fun to watch. He's like watching Jean-Claude Van Damme get after it. But at the end of the day, you get caught by that one punch and you're out, son. And that's going to happen. The other thing that was really disappointing on this fight night, two big boy heavyweights went toe-to-toe. Let me get their names right. It was Curtis Blades versus Justin Willis. And they were 260 big boys. This Curtis Willis guy played D1 football. He left to go and actually fight. He didn't even do a fourth year. These two dudes laid on each other. It was so bad. I wanted to see someone just get blasted, and it never happened. The Blades guy wanted a decision, but I'm telling you, it was 15 minutes of my life I'll never get back. They were just laying on each other and laying on each other. It was not a good match, but nonetheless, and there's another one next week in Philadelphia where there's another fight night. It's a great time to be an MMA fan because I'm telling you,
them out, huh?
And now they're doing pay-per-views exclusively through...
You can order through the UFC app or through ESPN's website, and they said they got or through their app as well. They got a huge bump for it. Like a lot of people were getting the MMA or the pay-per-views through it and stuff like that. That partnership is paying off in spades, and like the only thing I could see is if I'm someone that's subscribed to Fight Pass, they're kind of letting that die on the vine. The actual UFC MMA channel is just kind of... But, man, that ESPN Plus partnership is fantastic.
You follow UFC, Tyler?
I was very much into it for a while, and now I'm in and out.
Yeah.
I like Curtis Blades. I'm disappointed to hear his fight wasn't exciting.
It was boring. Oh, my God.
What was the name of the thing we went to in Southgate?
That was Warrior Extreme Cage Fighting.
Yeah, we saw
that
MMA
was
live.
great.
That was great. Thomas Hearns was like from me to you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It was pretty close.
And now they do once a month. They have an event that they put on UFC Fight Pass. Warrior Wednesdays happens and that's on Fight Pass. So if you want to check that out, but yeah, it's a good time to be an MMA fan. I'll tell you that partnership is fantastic. So,
Cool. I'm gonna have
and
to
then
look
next
into that.
Next week's event, the Saturday event next week, I believe is on ESPN proper. It's not even on ESPN Plus. So.
Who's going to headline that?
It's what's the guy's name? It's a really weird spelled like Cade guy. It's in Philadelphia. It's his hometown, and he's kind of a welterweight guy that's building up. So they're going to try to put him as a main and see if they can't get him to go. So
Gotcha.
good stuff.
So, outside of wrestling and UFC, the big sporting event this weekend is the March Madness. Mm-hmm. Now, Tyler, are you a huge basketball fan?
I am not a huge basketball fan.
With as tall as you are, I'm surprised you're not.
Right. With my leaping ability, you'd think that I would be.
Well, like most people in this country, I know nothing about college basketball, but I fill out a bracket every year for some money.
I do too.
You say Duke and North Carolina and keep it moving.
Yeah, well, I was doing great till about 8 o'clock last night.
Now, I heard I just watched the North Carolina game, and they went into the studio. There's still 2 perfect brackets somewhere. Like the golden ticket of Willy Wonka, yeah.
This isn't one of them.
Did you guys hear that Buffalo Wild Wings has a thing going that if you get a perfect bracket through like their little game, you win a customized Buffalo Wild Wings?
What do you mean, like a whole store?
You get a whole restaurant.
Yeah, you would also win like $1 billion because no one's ever done it, right? You'd have to do the Sports Almanac Back to the Future 2 style.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you the game that screwed me. I'll tell you right now. It was 8 o'clock last night, feeling good, got a bunch right. Then Auburn decided to beat the brakes off of Kansas.
And Steve's done.
I had them in the finals against Duke. Then Virginia was losing most. They were last year. They were 1 seed that lost to a 16, first time ever. This year, funny enough, for 3/4 of the game, they were losing again as a 1 seed to the 16. Jeez. But then they woke up and won. But Villanova lost too. They were the defending champs. So those are 2 big upsets. Off the top of my head, the local guys, Michigan's still rolling. Michigan State's still rolling.
Except for Tom Izzo went off on that player. Yeah, they're really obsessing on that.
Yeah, I've seen a coach chew out players 100 times. I don't know why.
Apparently not in college basketball, man. Yeah, they're wound up.
I don't understand the big deal over that one, but
he really chewed into him pretty good, though.
Yeah, well, I did. Even he got to the one point where they had to hold him back. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So. There you go, a little update on March Madness. All of us suck. None of us. So you have a bracket out there filled out, Tyler?
I do. I have a bracket out there filled out. I think, I think like you, I was doing pretty good. I'll have to look at it when I go into work on Monday. That's where it's at. But,
yeah, those are always fun.
Because I had Minnesota over Louisville, and I know that hurt a lot of people.
Yeah, because Minnesota won. I did have
because Minnesota won. So
I had a lot of them, man. Just
I think I had. Who did?
If you
Nova
took them deep,
to?
you're
Tennessee?
screwed.
Huh?
Who did Nova lose to?
Villanova, I forgot to remember.
It doesn't matter.
But Villanova, yeah, but they lost. God damn, that's gonna bug me. Because it was a mild upset that they just lost.
Purdue to Purdue by quite a bit. It looks like too.
Purdue beat the brakes off them. Look up the Kansas score. I mean, Auburn literally just beat the hell out of them, and Charles Barkley was just celebrating in the audience.
Yeah, I bet he was.
Yeah, look at that one. Yeah, that seems closer than it was. They were up by 24 at one point.
Wow.
Yeah. So Kansas made it look a little better than it was. And I know North Carolina was beating the hell out of Washington right before this podcast.
Yeah, they beat them by like 20-something.
Yeah, and Duke has been rolling, so it looks like... Now, here's a funny fact. Duke and North Carolina have never met each other in the championship game. So
wow.
So
okay.
That should be interesting.
For your random sports trivia.
Yeah, I know. Well, my problem is I listen to people online or on the radio.
Well, because it's hard to know about this many college basketball
teams. LSU lost their coach, and they're in disarray. I take them to be upset. They've won the last 2 games, beating the brakes off of it. Tennessee's gone cold. I took Colgate to beat Tennessee. Tennessee's beat the brakes off of TV. So I don't want to listen to the experts.
Doing anything with a tournament's nearly impossible.
I'm just flipping a quarter every game.
Yeah, you basically can.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to go into one of our favorite segments of the game, of the podcast, Rapid Fire.
7th inning stretch.
Where we've added a little new twist to the Rapid Fire. We added some games, so you can tell me. So I'm going to give you a movie, a game, whatever's new on streaming. You can tell me, yeah, I want to see that. No, I don't. Or what the hell is that? Or what? So here we go. Let's start with Rapid Fire. I don't remember if I did this one last week. I might have. The new Jordan Peele movie, Us, comes out this week. I'm a no. I wasn't a fan of Get Out. Tyler, what are your thoughts?
I saw it. I actually, I didn't think it was bad. It's
so
not,
it's already,
but I really liked Get Out.
Oh, okay.
And this is not as good as Get Out.
So let me pause rapid fire. What did you think of the movie? I mean, all the way around? Is it because people are hyping it hard, man?
They're hyping it real hard. I really liked Get Out, and it was impossible for me to not think of Get Out while I was watching that movie, watching Us. Mm-hmm. So for me, it just wasn't as good. Like I would still recommend it because it's not a bad movie. I think Jordan Peele just makes good movies, but it was like it should have been a Twilight Zone episode, 30 minutes. 45 minutes, not a whole movie.
Oh, so you think they filled it out to fill in a whole movie? Is that your theory on it?
Yeah, I think it should have been an episode of something.
I
know it's funny. He's doing the Twilight show on the CBS.
Yeah,
with Seth Rogen or whatever too, right? I think he's in there. Hyperbole wise, how busy was the theater when you were there?
It was relatively busy. We went to a pretty late show because my brother doesn't get off until super late, but it was still pretty busy.
Yeah.
I mean, we sat comfortably, but there was a lot more people there at 10:30 at night than you'd think there would be.
So you definitely recommend it, though.
Yeah, I would recommend it.
Mm-hmm. And I actually want to see it. I believe we did talk about it last week. I enjoyed Get Out, kind of similar to Tyler. I don't think it's this groundswell, this amazing original thing, but it's definitely a yes for me.
Now this next one they're releasing at the theater and Netflix at the same time.
Doing that Netflix move with a theater.
It's called The Dirt. I guess it's about a documentary crew.
Do you remember that
the
biography that came out a while ago? Wasn't there like
book, right?
Yeah, like a book that came out.
About Motley Crue?
Yeah, some of those stories are crazy.
Maybe this is the movie to go with the book.
I hope you're right, because if I remember, it's supposed to be nuts.
I don't know. I wouldn't go to the theater to see it, so I'm a no on the theater. Tyler?
I would say no on the theater, but if it's going to stream on Netflix and I'm not doing something, like you said, there's supposedly some crazy stories in the book.
Nothing but kooky stuff.
So I would be interested to check it out.
I think I would listen to see what some people that went and saw it, similar to Tyler's review on like Us or whatever, find out. But it looks really super interesting.
Next one is Hotel Mumbai. This is about it was in the news about 5-6 years ago about a terrorist that raided a hotel in Mumbai. And then the SWAT team had to go in and take him out.
Who's in it?
I have no idea. No one I recognize. But this is a movie about that.
I thought this was a Bollywood movie.
No, this is a legit movie. But it's low budget, it seems. So, but it's about that news, that hotel that got raided in Mumbai by terrorists, and then they had to go in and take him out. I'll probably rent it. I wouldn't go to the theater and see it. Tyler?
Yeah, I don't know. This one I would probably skip. Just because those are usually depressing things.
And I'm a what? I didn't know what it was. I didn't know anything about it until you just told me. Because you always put these Bollywood things on here from Amazon and stuff. I thought it was a Bollywood thing.
There's no Bollywood this week. But no, that was actually a news article about 4 or 5 years ago. Once I read the description of the movie, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that now. Okay, so new on Blu-ray this week is Aquaman. Of course, I'm going to watch that. I'm a comic nerd. Yes, Tyler?
You saw it in the theaters, correct?
Yes.
Yep, I saw it in the theater, and the first maybe hour, I was not into it. I was actually like, man, this movie stinks.
That's the same review you had, too. It's a slow starter.
But then, as soon as I was like, okay, let me not take this movie so seriously, I enjoyed the heck out of it. I really liked it.
Yeah, that's cool. And it's a comic movie, so I'm a no.
Oh. And this one's an Academy Award nominee. Regina King nominated for this movie.
She won.
If Beale Street Could Talk. This looks like too much drama for me, so I'm a no.
It does look like a whole lot of drama, but I mean, if it's won awards, and usually I end up seeing all of them. It might take me a while, so I'll probably see this.
And I unfortunately, I don't know what it's about.
I don't either.
I know Regina King won, but I couldn't tell you the plot of it at all.
Yeah, that's what I know about it, is that people liked it, and she won an award.
And it sounds like I need to go see Green Book before it anyway.
It doesn't look very uplifting, I'll tell you that much. Now, this one I wanted to see in the theater, but I missed it. Really? Stan and Ollie with John C. Reilly about
I have thoughts on this movie.
This
is a movie they thought was going to win a ton of awards, and it won nothing.
I say yes, I want to see it.
It's about Laurel and Hardy.
It's about Laurel and Hardy, the later years before he died.
Yeah, I saw the previews for it. I was interested in seeing it.
So is that a yes from you?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to be another one of these terrible movies that wanted to win an award. It's a no. Because you didn't hear anything about it.
No, you didn't.
You didn't. And if it was anything decent, you would have heard about it. To your guys' point, you heard about it and then it just disappeared. Mm-hmm. That's never good.
Now, here's another one that I own. It has such a huge cult following, I had to put it on here. Doctor Who, Season 7, the BBC show. I don't understand.
You
the
can
love.
meet the Doctor Who guy at Motor City Comic Con. I
know
know
a
it's a
lo-
big deal to a lot of people.
I know a lot of the actors that end up in Star Wars and Lord of the Rings come from these Doctor Who shows and stuff. I just don't. I don't like it. No, for me, Doctor Who.
I would say no. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I'm a no. And again, I'm just pausing all over rapid fire today, but like, what is Doctor Who about?
Time traveling.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Time
Quantum
trap-
Leap?
Yeah.
Well, he
well,
also.
Quantum Leap, he went into other people's bodies.
Oh,
Yeah.
so he
Doctor Who is
he's
time
Doctor Who
travel.
no matter what time.
But
he
I
is
think
out
he
there.
also travels dimensions too, because there's
Yeah,
like
he does
aliens,
all
and
kinds of stuff.
So he time travels in dimension.
So basically,
travels.
whatever way they need to. This
Yeah,
phone
yeah,
booth is
yeah.
doing whatever.
Yeah, it takes him wherever.
Speaking of that too, and again, I'm derailing the crap out of this. I'm full of tangents like Bergeron. Did you guys see they're going to make a third Bill and Ted's movie?
Yes,
That's great.
Yeah.
I did
come
not, but I'm
on.
They look
glad.
so gray and wrinkly.
Dude, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, they put out a little video, and Keanu Reeves must be really died for John Wick because his beard was so gray in that announcement, and who the other guy Bill is, all these wrinkles. I was like, oh wow,
Whatever he is, the other one. It's Keanu Reeves and the other one. No one knows the other
Yeah.
guy's name.
Yeah, is it going to be about their kids or actually them? Yeah, that'd be the question. And now this one, every week there's a ton of movies that get re-released and stuff like that. So I thought I'd put this one on there for shits and giggles because I know there's a new movie coming out about it.
Yeah.
The original Stephen King Pet Sematary is coming out on 4K Blu-ray. I didn't like it originally on cable. I don't like Pet Sematary. No for me. Tyler?
I would say no. I've seen it enough to not need to pick that up and see it in 4K.
Horror movies suck. It's a no.
Now on streaming. This first one's probably for kids. Charlie's Colorform City. It's on Netflix. I thought maybe something Lorna
Is
might
it like
that.
color forms like the 80s color
Yes,
forms?
yes.
Okay.
But it's just like that little
Do you remember
Colorform-
color forms?
I don't. I don't
Oh
even
my
think
god,
I
the
know
little
what it
sticky
is.
things.
Yeah,
And
you
they
get
were
like a
yeah.
board, and you get
Yeah.
like Spider-Man and Ninja
And they would
Turtles,
have
and
like
you can-
clings that you'd put on and do like a scene of.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a very
So they're
80s
making
thing.
a cartoon on that on Netflix. My daughter's 14, so no, I will not be watching it. Tyler?
I didn't know what it was, but maybe. I'll say no, but yeah.
Until Lorna finds it, I'm a no.
Now, this next one, Carlo and Malik, it looks like a Spanish detective movie coming to Netflix. You'll recognize the main actor. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. He's an old Spanish actor. He's been around forever. It looks terrible. No.
So Carlos Mencia. Is in there? No.
Yeah, I would say no, too. I have no clue what this is.
Yeah, I was near the end of the month. It's always hard to find new releases.
I'm a no. Yeah.
Now, this one, I don't know if we covered this one.
Hannah,
again.
I think you did this last week, but
Oh,
yeah,
did it?
this is that one where she's the punching the tree.
Yeah, the Hannah action series is coming to Amazon. I might watch it.
I think, yeah, I'll check it out. I saw the movie. I thought the movie was good.
I still would probably watch it, but I just don't have Amazon Prime.
Now, this last one's that chubby girl.
80
from-
Bryant, I believe, is her
Yeah,
name.
from Saturday Night Live.
And they want her to be popular.
They
Yeah.
really,
so
really
bad.
do.
They are just,
They
please
really
love
do.
her. And it's like, no, Melissa McCarthy already exists. I don't need you in my
Yes.
life.
Well, this is like that. There was some diet show. It's based on a series of books. This is the same author, but it looks
Santa
terrible.
Clara Diet? Is that what you're thinking
No,
of?
that's that one with
Timothy Oliphant and Drew
no.
Barrymore?
No, there's one that was on AMC about this big girl. It had diet in the name. It was like women's empowerment, love me for my body type shit.
Yeah.
It looks terrible. No thanks. Tyler?
I haven't seen anything about this either. I'll say no.
And I'm a no. She's not funny. Go back to SNL. And again, please love her. SNL wants you to,
They
but I
love
don't
you too
dig it.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and plus there's Rebel Wilson out there and Melissa McCarthy. We don't
Yeah.
need her right now. It's so sexist.
You really don't need Rebel Wilson either, honestly.
Yeah. Now this one we'll all know. I listed some games. Now, Devil May Cry 5 is out. I'm a yes. I've liked the Devil May Cry series for a long time, even though they get a little cheap in the later stages because they kind of recycle the same stage. But I do like Devil May Cry. Tyler?
I'm going to say no on it just because I'm not I played sports games, wrestling games, and once in a while some fighting games. So I'm going to say no.
Wow. You're selling yourself short. The Devil May Cry games are fun, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Running, gunning.
Yeah,
craziness.
it's just like stylized. You can juggle enemies in the air as you're rattling them off. It's fun. Yeah, I'd say yes.
Now, Dead or Alive 6 is a fighting game. That just came
Jiggly
out.
boobies.
They're famous for the boobies bouncing all
Yeah.
around. I would probably rent this. It's got the funny thing. The side. Now I'm gonna go on a tangent. $93 season pass for this game.
Whoa.
So that's
93.
Okay, I want to make sure I understand your. So when you say season pass, it's getting all the extra content.
Yeah.
So that's 60 plus 93.
Yes.
You're saying $150 for a bad
Japanese
video.
fighting game, yes.
Wow.
To unlock everything and get all the new stuff coming out. That's why I would just rent it 2 months from now. So I'm a no. I'm not going to buy that. Tyler?
Yeah, I would say no.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I haven't played a Dead or Alive game. I'm well aware of it. What is the guy's name who designs them? Who's like a weird? He always wears the leather coat with the sunglasses and stuff.
He's from Team Ninja. or
Yeah,
whatever.
he's got a whole thing. I don't like the DOA games. I'm a no.
Yeah. And now, Ace Combat 7. Now, I've been itching to play a good fighting, flying game. But
Ace Combat games are really good because they're very arcadey. They do not want to bust you over the head with a lot of realism.
Yeah, I do like. I find though flying games after about a half hour, I think I've had my fill, and I don't want to play them anymore.
It's hard to get a different type of mission. It's very escorty. It's very find the different points.
I'm a no. I probably wouldn't play this. Tyler?
Yeah, I was never playing very many flying games, so no.
I've played a handful of Ace Combat games. This also has a VR sequence in it that I would definitely like to check out. So I'm a yes.
That does sound interesting.
With the helmet?
Yeah.
Now, the first game of this one, The Division, it's basically an online shooter game. Our cousin John loved it. He played it a lot. I just don't like online shooting that much. It gets really repetitive really quick. So I'm a no on The Division 2. Tyler, what is your thoughts?
I actually played the first one. Wasn't a huge fan of it, but I know my brother's going to get it, so I will be
popular,
a yes, and I will play it.
Yeah. And I'm a no. I'm with you guys. I didn't play the first one. I like Rainbow Six games. You know what I mean? This is an Ubisoft game, if I'm not mistaken. But
Now, in
I'm
the
a
first
no.
one, could you both play on the same stage online, or did you
Split
guys-
screen, or did you
I
use
never
separate
did.
consoles?
Me and my brother never did. We would always play it separate, so I don't even know if that's. a
I used to
possibility.
just watch people play it. Very similar to Overwatch. I just hang out and watch people play it for hours at a time.
And this last one, I just put in there because I know they're coming out with Yoshi's Epic Yarn for the Nintendo Switch. I don't even know anybody that still has a 3DS. So Kirby's Epic Yarn, my daughter probably like it, but she doesn't have a 3DS, so it's a no from me. Tyler?
I do still have a 3DS because I love playing Mario Kart. But no, I wouldn't play. That's probably.
The Epic Yarn games are really cool. And
Oh, well,
when
I'm gonna
Lorna
check
gets a
them
little
out.
older, yeah, they're super cool. So yes.
Oh. So there's some rapid fire. We're going to add some games each week when we can. Like I said, near the end of the month, it's hard to find new releases.
Yeah.
Everything comes out in like the middle of the month. After that, you're pretty screwed. Now, Tyler, how up to date are you on video game stuff?
I wouldn't say super, definitely not as much as I used to be, but I know a few things here and there.
I use the bathroom.
Charles is going to use the bathroom.
Sure.
So recently, Google is throwing their hat into the video game. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I did. I heard of this. Yeah, the Stadia.
Yeah. All right. Good. So you can be on this conversation. So the gist of it is, right? There's no hardware. Mm-hmm. So you would buy, like this TV here, it's in front of us. You buy a Google Chromecast, and then you could either use your Xbox One controller or you can use the Stadia controller, and then you can just stream games right to your TV from your Chromecast. How do you think that's going to work? Do you think it's going to be good? Do you think it's going to be bad?
I have absolutely no clue how it's going to work because there's browser-based games that already exist, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't understand. I guess I just don't understand enough of like how it's going to work to know how it's going to do.
Well, allegedly 75,000, I think, is the number of data centers Google has all over the world. God, they want to take over the world. They probably could.
Oh, sure. Well, they got all of our information.
Yeah. So what they're going to do is, so you're going to play, the example is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, right?
Right.
So you're going to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey. You're going to turn it on. It's going to stream the information from their data center, say there's one in Dearborn Heights, right to you, and you're going to play it right there. That's essentially how it's going to work, but it's all going to be dependent on your internet connection. So if you have a crap internet connection,
Well,
Then
so
you're in trouble.
let me
Yes.
pause you for a minute because now what they've done was they've also made sure that the way that they've attacked this is somehow the controller being on its own Wi-Fi network is somehow going to change the way that lag is addressed. So what they're saying is, okay, and I looked way into this.
We're going to get really nerd and techie here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm interested.
Well, I'm super interested in this tech because I think buying hardware is antiquated and ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'm just over it. It's
Okay.
just, it's sad that every year I got to pay $800 for a new console.
Right. Every year's a stretch. 7.
Well, yeah, okay,
yeah.
but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like it's
have to
pretty
buy a
out of
new one.
control. So to me, if you can finally get this tech in place, so somehow with putting the wireless controller is, if you allow it to link on its own, separate of your physical hardware, it destroys a lot of the input lag. They're saying if you have a 10 megabit per second Wi-Fi connection or wireless internet connection, you can play this without pretty much any lag. So that's pretty impressive.
What they
stuff.
say and what happens are going to be 2 different
Well,
things.
and
That's
to your
true.
point, Kotaku had a big article about it where they did struggle on some Doom stuff. There's a specific Doom game that they already talked about with the Stadia stuff, and there was a little bit of lag, but they're not sure if that's just because it hasn't been stress tested correctly or if it's actually like indicative of the final product.
What is the price point going to be coming?
That's the million-dollar question, and that's what you're going to see a lot of in our points. Steve and I talked about it at length the past couple weeks. It depends. Are you going to have to buy each game individually? Are you going to subscribe to a service?
Right.
Are you going to subscribe to a service that has tiers? No one knows, and that's always
the problem.
It's going to launch this year, so
Wow.
you're going to know soon. I would argue probably by the summertime you're going to know.
Wow.
I am super into this.
The pricing wise, my initial gut feeling is it's going to be like $25 a month, and they're going to have
for back catalog.
They're going to be X amount of games. Say there's 100 games in there, like Game Pass on Xbox. But then again, for like the new Madden, the new Call of Duty, you have to buy them separately, and then you can play them on. So I'm paying $25 a month for these 100 games, and then the new featured games will come out. You still got to buy those.
Do you think it's
I'm
going to be
telling
similar?
you, there's no way that
So
EA
it's
is going to pass that money up.
It's kind of like UFC Fight Pass. So in other words, I get the pay-per-views on UFC Fight Pass 2 to 3 months after they initially air. So is your theory being like, okay, so the new Madden hits in, let's just keep it easy and say June. I'm not going to see it in my Stadia subscription model until September,
Unless
October.
you pay the $60 up front.
and then you'll be able to do it. I think that's very similar to how it's going to work.
Yeah, that's my initial gut feeling.
Yeah, I
Because a lot of those big publishers aren't going to pass up that $60.
I also think where it's going to do is very similar to what we've described on a lot of our streaming stuff too. I think it's going to fracture a lot. So in other words, I think that as Stadia gets it and tends to get it right, I think that a lot of these other services, so like EA is going to have their own service, Ubisoft's going to have their own service. That's what's going to happen. So then now you're going to have like this whole thing where it's like, okay, well, if I want to play it here, I got to get this platform, and that's going to get super messy and super annoying, and that's what I'm worried about. But
So there's literally not going to be a game system that you have to spend money on.
no, in theory. So think about it, Tyler. So you could take like your iPad, like what Steve's looking with the Mevo stuff right now. The Wi-Fi controller goes on its own network connection to my router.
Right.
The iPad itself is on a network connection. So as you're doing your inputs, the controller's ones and zeros are hitting your router directly. You don't have to worry about your iPad. So your iPad is just basically displaying once your inputs hit to the server, and then the video is basically coming to the iPad. They did a great job of documenting when did you see when the guy went from a phone to a tablet to a television?
And a
It
controlled
looked
studio
crazy.
setting
where
everything was set
Sure,
to
sure.
optimize
Sure.
perfectly.
I know, but that's an amazing
But if
piece
they
of
can
tech.
get it to work good enough, that seems like it's going to be very disruptive for
I think it is too.
all those
Yeah.
Well,
Sony. I mean, if you're instead of
So Steve has chronicled this before. There's and we have it in the show notes kind of coming up. Project xCloud is the Microsoft version of this.
yeah,
It's going to be
Microsoft's
the
been working on
competitor.
something like this
Yeah,
already.
so-
okay.
And Sony's already acquired. They have on some level the same type of tech with the PlayStation Now, correct?
Which I've tried a couple years ago and it was dog shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I would say, and Steve and I are kind of coming from different angles on this. I'm super optimistic. Steve's super like, I'll wait and see. on it.
yeah.
Well,
And
yeah, I mean, with those tech companies, I think. Well, I mean, we're working at a place that was pretty close to Google. They have a tendency to, like, here's the product. Okay, here's all the bugs. But then 6 months to a year later, it will do what it's going to do.
But to Steve's point, Steve's been pessimistic about it. I don't want to say pessimistic, but he's had one eye kind of like, I don't know. if it doesn't hit hard and fast, Google has a tendency to pull the plug on stuff, and that. So from a platform where like, hey, look, I could do all this stuff. If you let it die on the vine that quickly, like Google tends to do, that's rough, man. And that's what I'm scared of. And that's what Steve's always like, I'm just saying, that's what Google does.
Yeah, Google, if they don't blow out Microsoft in 2 seconds, they're going to be like, all right, cut it.
Yeah.
Because I was reading about, I think it was St. Louis, that fiber, the Google fiber, they messed all that up. And like they were burying it under the roads.
Okay.
And then they put like cheap asphalt across the top of it, and the asphalt got tore up, and the Google fiber lines were getting tore up.
Wow.
And then Google just said, forget it, we're not going to do it, and just left and it never finished it.
Wow.
So, they have a history of backing out.
I still think, though, the upside potential of this and the possible way that Google can make bucket loads of cash is still going to drive this a little more.
Now, here's the other problem you have, too, is what kind of percentage of the other company's going to get?
That's where you're going to get the fraction.
Because that's the problem where Apple has right now when people are bitching that we don't get enough piece of the pie and stuff.
I don't want to derail the Stadia conversation, but Apple's also supposed to be this week, I believe, throwing its hat in the ring for some kind of TV subscription model.
Yeah,
that's coming up right now. So it's a crazy time. But I talked about it. I'm super stoked about this because so what they described in their keynote is an amazing piece of tech. So imagine there's 15 GPUs that are just waiting to process game information at a server farm somewhere, as opposed to an antiquated Xbox One or like a PS4. It's great, man. I am super just...
it would save So Tyler and Dylan are great examples. In Tyler's room, he could have his Comcast or his Chromecast. Dylan has his Chromecast. So you got two pretty much consoles for under $70, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's what the exciting part of it would be, right?
And if they had a family plan, say $30 a month for 5 people in your house,
all this sounds amazing. To Tyler's point, the biggest question is price point.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
There's going to be a subscription because they're going to want that money coming in continuously. That's going to be one.
You're going to have some kind of hardware buy because you're going to have to buy the controller. So that's going to be something that you're going to have a hardware buy of. But they can't put a $600 price tag on a controller.
Right.
But,
here's that controller, $799.
Yeah, right.
Well, they said you could use Microsoft Xbox One controllers with it, too.
But now, how does that tech work? Because again, I'm to understand the way that Google's answering the lag issue is that you've got two internet.
They said the controllers can only work
devices.
with PCs. So if you have a PC, you can use your Xbox One controller, whatever you want, on the PC.
Okay, so that's how they're probably destroying the input lag.
You have to use the Stadia or Stadia controller.
It's super interesting, and I'm super into it. Yeah, and we'll continue to chronicle it on this podcast
because we're nerds.
Yeah, it's super
isn't it weird that everything's moving to like these subscription services?
Oh yeah.
It's
keep the money flowing. Keep the money flowing.
It's back to the old World of Warcraft model.
Yeah.
Blizzard made such a bank on that. It's just so everyone was like, "Well, hey, wait a minute." And Netflix, we talked about it when Bergeron's here. One of the biggest production companies in the country now.
Yeah.
So I mean,
spending buttloads of money getting content.
And that's what I was talking about. Why I think that all these companies are going to push this way. If I can get it on every cell phone in the country, it is a mint. Yeah. It is just an unbelievable amount of money.
And that's what Xbox Live is trying to do. Like you said, there's rumors Xbox Live is trying to get on Nintendo Switch. They're also trying to get on. It's on iPhone now and Android. There was a news announcement.
They had the Smart Glass app, but you're saying like Xbox Live proper is going to be on these now? Okay.
Yeah.
What am I going to be able to do? Do you have any insight onto that yet, or not really?
Well, your achievements, your friend list, and all that would pull over to Android. You'd be able to, like, if you're playing an Android game, you should be able to invite other friends to that game and play and stuff like that. Yeah, pretty much what Xbox Live does now, but I don't know if the achievements will be baked into like a Nintendo game. I highly doubt it.
I just question, like, with this Stadia stuff, if you get into, like, let's talk about, like, a Dead or Alive game, where you have to have such precise twitch control. I know the input lag is supposed to be cured with this wireless controller or whatever, but, like, how... I mean, it is... not even milliseconds, like
Yeah,
literally.
and the fake fighting game community still uses wired fight sticks.
Yeah,
because
for that reason.
They don't want no lag, so I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm super excited about it at Google Stadia.
In 2 months, E3 comes out, and Microsoft's supposed to come big with that. They're supposed
Microsoft
to
is, but
explain
the thing that is crazy to me too is, and again to get off on our nerd tangents here, but like E3's dying. All these game companies are now doing their direct to use and all this kind of stuff. They're pulling back from everything.
Actually, Microsoft has on YouTube now, Xbox Now, once a month or once a week, where they kind of
State of the Union kind of thing. Here's what's coming up.
Yeah, last couple were promoting Crackdown 3, which tanked pretty bad.
Yeah.
I didn't play it, but I heard it's a turd sandwich.
But I mean, and like I talked about with BV the other day when he was on the show, like it's a great proposition for someone who I don't want. Maybe I want to play a game with Steve. I don't normally have like a $700 console. If I can jump in for a few months, have a great time with Steve, have a great time with Tyler, and then kind of like, oh, that kind of came and went. You know, I mean, that's a great thing, man. I'm super stoked on it.
So, on the other end of the news spectrum, Tyler, are you familiar with Atari?
Atari, oh yes.
Atari 3 years ago started a Kickstarter. They're coming out with a new system.
Oh, great.
Well, don't be too happy.
Okay.
It was supposed to come out this year. It's been delayed till I think either the end of this year or next year.
Oh no.
Most likely next year.
Oh, are they going to bury it in the desert when
it seems like it.
So let me ask the question to you guys. Let me ask the question. Is anyone really looking for a new Atari?
No.
Because I had a guy at work the other day who's like, do you think Sega's going to get involved with Stadia? And I'm like, who's looking for a new Sega console? Like, I mean, not whatever, but like, don't you just want to kind of see? Like, that was a great time. Everyone is endeared to Atari, but like, I mean, does it really hold that kind of cachet still? I mean,
I don't think so. And the fact that it's being delayed another year screams it's about to die. Yeah. Usually when a Kickstarter program starts getting delayed over and over again,
well, is it going to be a
sign.
new Atari system, or is it going to be like it's just going to play the old games? Like you have the retro SNES,
no,
it's going to be a new platform.
Yeah, and they were supposed to take all their old properties like Pitfall, all them, and they're going to redo them, better graphics, stuff like that.
Because who's clamoring for a new Pitfall game?
right. If you're a nerd who really loves that game,
you
anyway,
already have it in
have
8 different iterations. Yeah. I don't know.
So they were going to take a lot of their classics, remaster them, make them better, and then they allegedly had developers on board that were going to make games for it. From what I understood, it's going to be like an Android simulator.
Yeah, I was going to say it's going to be like a Linux-based or an Android-based thing. They just pump out a few ports and keep it going.
Yeah, but they're charging $200-$300 for this thing.
Oh wow!
It's not like it's a cheap
I'll
$25
see you in the bargain
Walgreens.
bin 6 months from now. Dude. No, thank you.
So there's an update on Atari. If you guys are all dying for it out there, all the 1976 Atari fans. Now this
next one I have questions about.
This is we're gonna get real nerdy for you again. Good. This SpaceX is owned by Elon Musk. You familiar with him, Tyler?
Yeah, I know Elon
and
Musk.
OneWeb is another company, and that Jeff Bezos is behind that one.
Oh,
okay.
So SpaceX is going to launch a thing called Starlink, and this is supposed to happen pretty quickly. They're going to launch thousands of satellites up in the lower atmosphere right before space. And what this is going to do is provide a giant mesh net around the world where they're supposed to be able to have just the world's best broadband internet.
So,
and OneWeb is trying to do the same thing at the same time. So I don't know how much space is up there.
Someone came up with an idea. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of room. I'm not. You know what I mean?
I know.
But so I understand this correctly. So the problem with a lot of these satellite, like a sat phone and all this kind of stuff, like a satellite phone, is you have to broadcast from here to the satellite back down. You know what I mean? Like there's a huge lag between that. How does like blanketing with these like I'm assuming like a lower atmospheric satellite correct that problem?
I don't know. I didn't read too deep into the article because it's getting too nerdy for me.
Yeah.
But apparently Elon Musk's company has figured a way out that it removes a lot of the latency and stuff. There's a different format that a lot of them were using, and that this company's switching formats to a different one. Is
it like the WiMAX stuff and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. They found some other version with some abbreviation. And now it's supposed to work 10 times faster.
Wow.
So the big thing is...
In rural rural areas you could get internet, and everywhere else you could get internet. Is that the theory? In the
Yes,
thought?
yes, and then it's going to compete directly with Comcast, AT&T, and all these people.
I'm all for Comcast competition.
So am I.
Anyone, forget Comcast.
Yeah, so
But-
that's the big push behind it. No mention of how much they're going to charge for it, but it is allegedly going to be considerably amount cheaper than a cable company. So where you're paying $50 for internet now, from them you might only pay $20.
You brought it up earlier. Like, I just wanted like fiber lines. You know what I mean? Like at some point, I just wanted like this crazy fast internet that I've always heard about. Like in Korea, you get like 200 megabits up and down. It's like, well, how does that happen here? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, it tried to happen in St. Louis and just
They didn't bury
Google
it
said
deep
we're
enough.
out.
That's weird.
St. Louis or Louisville, I can't remember.
Is it easier just to launch a bunch of satellites as opposed to putting fiber?
I mean, I guess because SpaceX is one of the only companies or anyone that's shooting stuff into space at this point.
Yeah.
So,
But that's their big plan, and then, like I said, OneWeb is the same. If Jeff Bezos is backed on the OneWeb, there's 5 or 8 different backers, and they're probably doing the same thing. And like I said, you're supposed to be able to offer broadband a lot cheaper than the current price.
Let me ask a question. I don't know anyone that lives in like a rural area. Does anyone know who can't get internet?
People in a rural area.
But how do they get power? Like on the same power lines, right? Don't they run? I don't know how it works. I don't pretend to understand how infrastructure works.
Right.
But like, is there legit style places where like they only can get a dial up? And if so, where do you live?
From what I understand, most of them use satellite. Like out by Bert's house, you see a ton of dish satellites.
Yeah,
out there.
I've seen that. Like my grandparents used to live in Tecumseh.
Okay.
And you would see a lot of satellites, but they had power. They had internet.
Yeah,
like it
there's
was
still
never
cables bringing stuff.
like how
right?
rural are we talking about? You know,
I mean, like
Middle of
outhouse
Ala-
rural.
right?
Middle of Alaska.
I don't know.
so in a holler in West
Because
Virginia.
everyone, yeah, it's like
I
because
hate it when I
everyone
live in a
brings this up. Everyone brings this up when you talk about like the Stadia stuff. Like there are sections, and I'm like, where do these people live? Like I've got like 4 options, and I'm not saying I live in like a metropolis, but like how do you not have internet options?
Good question.
But there obviously's got to be a market for it, else they wouldn't do it.
Right.
So it's weird.
And everybody always talks about it. So I guess it's true.
Yeah,
Middle
I
of
don't
Montana somewhere, you can get internet.
know.
now.
Well, but then you see like these people who build tiny houses who live off the grid, but they'll have an internet connection. So I don't understand.
With his tinfoil hat.
I don't know, man.
And plus, most people that live out in those middle of nowhere rural areas, isn't that the whole point is to get away from all this crap anyway?
Well, you still need your Twitter and your Facebook, apparently. I don't
guess.
know.
I'm going to go feed the cows, but let me check Twitter real
Yeah,
quick.
I don't know. It's an interesting thing. I don't know what it's like to live on a septic tank or anything like that. Like so,
sounds terrible.
I'm sure someone's shaking their fist at their headphones right now. Like, what are these idiots?
No one in rural areas listening to us.
Yeah.
I just don't want to go. I don't want to live anywhere where I got to drive a half hour to get groceries. I'm fat. I need my
So,
groceries.
yeah, you know what's
I can't
funny?
be-
You
or,
mentioned
or
Montana.
45 minutes to a hospital. That's crazy.
Yeah. You mentioned Montana, and a girl I worked with moved to Montana. She explained to me that they have to drive so far to the grocery store, they have to bring coolers with ice in them. Just like ice down.
That's too much.
That's what I was like, to your point, like if someone gets hurt, what do you do? You know?
Right.
You take a nap till the ambulance gets there.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
And, I mean, I'm a heart attack waiting to happen. I can't be no hour and a half away from a hospital.
I always tell Heather, like, I can't be outside of 10 minutes from a Taco Bell.
That's why I never.
Anyway.
I don't understand like the old couples that want to move out in the middle of nowhere. It's like the first thing you need when you're old is a hospital.
Yeah.
Why would you live in the middle of nowhere? So there you
I
go.
don't
A little lurk of some nerdy stuff. Atari, Google Stadia, and some meshed internet broadband for rural areas.
So let me
Every female
query the
zoned out
room
after
here.
that one.
What percentage do you get of Google Stadia? Number 1, nailing everything, and number 2, being a great product.
50.
50? You're 50-50 on that. Tyler, what do you think? What do you got, like, out of 100?
Like out of the gate, I think it's might even be less than 50, but I think eventually it's probably close to 75, assuming they don't let it die on the vine like you were talking about earlier.
I'm really high on it because Google's behind it, and I want it to succeed. So I'm like in the 80s, but I think it's going to be price point prohibitive.
Yeah,
that's going to be the biggest thing. If it comes out and it's $40 a month, people are out. You know what I mean? No one's got
You gotta
$40
be
bucks a
20
month.
or less.
It's got to be in that Netflix kind of model. You can even go up to like $18.
And you gotta
or
have
something.
good games. You can't pepper me with a bunch of.
If they break out Arkham City again,
I swear to God, I see Arkham City on that list. I'm out.
Dude.
I mean, I've played that
all
game
the
like
Tomb
5
Raider
times.
games and Arkham City.
Yeah,
He's like, I'm done. Yeah.
They got like a remake of Pac-Man on there. It's done. I'm done.
If you're asking me what I want it to be, I'm so into it. I really am.
I mean, I think you should wait and see what Microsoft brings to the table. You know.
And how optimistic are you that Microsoft nails?
Oh, 50% again.
I can go either way, baby. I can go either way.
I'm old school. I still want my disc. I want the ability to sell my disc.
So, do you think next gen? Do you think that next generation of consoles? Hi. Oh, okay. We got some bad video issues, and here comes
my
the
knee.
one.
It's a very manly.
It's a
knee.
very good knee.
I must have did that when I moved the paper.
I just think that I think that I think that next generation console. I think that PlayStation's going to bring hardware. I think Microsoft's going to bring some hardware, but I think they're going to be so nerfed. I really don't think they're going to have any kind of ability to them. I think they're just going to be a box that you can hook to your internet and you could download it locally. And then that's going to be it. I mean, I don't think there's going to be much to it. Game consoles are just changing. I think they're going to be similar to like an Apple TV.
Well, I'm going to hate it when more and more games become all multiplayer. Then I'm gonna be like, I'm done. I like my Madden franchise, man.
So do I.
And it's slowly dying.
My brother's playing the Connected franchise with a bunch of guys.
Does he like it?
He loves it.
Yeah. Then you need the guys. You got to make sure
Yeah,
they
that's
play.
the big thing. Is you got
That's
the guys.
I'm
Yeah.
antisocial.
And that's the problem. I think you're getting to a point, too, where, like, we are aging out of a lot of
Yeah,
that stuff as much as you want to admit. Like, we don't have 8 friends anymore that you could just hit up.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, you have 3. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's interesting, but I'm super happy about it, and we'll see in the summer.
So I'm gonna end with a couple thoughts or rants. Not really a rant. So we've been replacing some microphones and stuff here.
Phase 1.
Phase 1. Charles thinks he's the Marvel movie cinematic universe.
So
He's
you
got
can see
phases.
Tyler's knee.
Yeah, we watch. Phase 1 showed Tyler's knees. Phase 2 shows his other knee.
Yeah.
So I've been selling a lot of the old stuff for him, and the new Craigslist is pretty much Facebook Marketplace. Have you sold anything on Facebook, Tyler?
I haven't, but I see it all the time.
Yeah, so I sold some old
And
microphones.
from someone who's not on Facebook, can you explain to me, like, what you're just locally posting to, like, your friends, or is it to the public?
What you post in the marketplace goes out to everybody.
Okay.
Well, usually it's about 4 or 5 cities around you who sees it, really.
Okay.
Not much more than that. I mean, if people really
Is this a new feature to Facebook?
probably in the last year or two, yeah.
Okay, so this is something they've rolled out to combat Craigslist.
Yeah, when you go on Facebook, I can't talk about it on a phone, but on a PC, you look at Facebook, up on the top left side, there's a little tab. Usually it'll say Marketplace. You can click it. You can browse. You can look for things. You can buy a car off it if you want it.
So if Tyler wants to sell his Clash belt or something like that, would it be on his wall or
If
something?
they don't
like
put him on the poster for the next video,
Yeah,
he's
dude.
selling the belt.
That's your
right.
angle.
There you go, guys.
Facebook and your
Yeah,
belt.
man.
So would it show up like on his feed? Tyler brought this up to sell and all this. Like, does it?
Yeah.
Does it
So,
aggregate that way? I guess.
It does. It has a search, so I would put in wrestling belts, and since Tyler lives relatively close to me, the Clash wrestling belt would show up, and then however much he's selling it for.
For $1 million. 'cause that's
And it's a
what
lot
That's
more
what it's
basic. A lot more basic than eBay. There's no charges for it, first off, which is nice because eBay's been really milking me lately. And then what happens is, so if I'm interested, I click the link and then I send a message to Tyler. I ask, is that belt still available? He clicks back, yes, because F Clash, they won't put me on the title. And I ask him for how much, and he tells me 45 cents.
So but hold on. So on the marketplace, it doesn't dictate a price on the marketplace.
Well, he puts up the price he wants.
Okay.
So I'll usually what happens is the person will ask you, is this still available?
Okay.
And then I will reply, yes, it's still available. And then they'll say, then I'll get a couple people trying to jip me down, like, oh, would you take 25? No.
Oh, so they come. They
Yeah, they
message
try.
you, yeah.
And then you work it out between each other on the message where you want to meet and where you want to pick it up.
Okay.
Once you sell it, then you come back and mark sold on your marketplace, and that's it. That's all there is to it. So no charge.
Sounds very Craigslist-y. It really does.
Yeah. The funny part about it is I've sold about 5 things now. I met at the local Myers. I met a lady, sold her things. It feels such like a drug deal. You're sitting there. First you describe me. I'm like a big dude with a goatee and a Notre Dame hat on. Okay, I'm a lady with a Michigan coat on. I'll see. And this first one,
So uncomfortable.
she walked.
Yeah.
We did it.
It's kind of like sketchy.
It is. So she walked. We met in the doorway of Myers. She literally walked in, handed me the tent, took the box, walked. I didn't say hi,
really?
bye. Anything. Yeah, it was such a weird one. That one was. And then there's been other guys. Like I told you, one guy was shaking when I went to collect money from him. I was like, I'm not
Because it's super sketchy. I mean,
well, of course it
admittedly.
is. But I go to
Is it
public places.
is it
I don't have to
considered-
come to the house.
Okay, but is it considered a little safer because it's Steve's profile posting it? Is that
Yeah, and you don't.
That makes sense.
is-
Like you can
know what I
see
mean?
who
Yeah,
he is.
like okay,
You
his
can't-
life is here, and he just happens to be selling a microphone.
And another thing, you can't make like if you made a Facebook profile tomorrow, you can't do the marketplace.
Okay, so that's that's how
You
they're
have to be an
trying add
established
something.
profile for 3 or 4 years before they let you
It's
put
just
market.
man.
It is sketchy. It's just like Craigslist used to be.
Is it working though?
It worked. Everything I put on there sold,
Wow.
except for one Harry Potter ring. My wife wanted me to sell. Nobody wanted that damn thing, so I was stuck with the ring.
I
but
agree with whoever didn't want that.
I actually did
That's
sell that one on eBay. But.
So you're paying no fees. Is
No
that
fees.
That's
No
the draw
fees.
for
That's what's
Steve
crazy.
Yeah.
eBay
And no
hits you for like
PayPal either.
10%.
You meet the person in the parking lot, you get cash right there. There's
Cash
no
money,
pay.
son.
See, eBay hits you for 10%, and then PayPal hits you for another 3 or 4% on top of that.
So you're talking almost 15% by the
Yeah. So you sell a $300 camera, it's $270 or $265. You're actually
There's
getting for
quite a chisel happening.
it. Yeah, it does. Now, I wouldn't sell anything super expensive on Facebook. Like, I wouldn't be selling no wedding rings or anything. You probably would get thumped or jumped for that.
Oh, so we
100
can't sell the Clash Championship.
Yeah.
It's too expensive.
So $100 or less, I'd probably sell it on Facebook. And so if you're looking at a way to avoid eBay fees, Marketplace on Facebook is one of them. So there you go. Hope anyone learned something new there. And take a big knife with you when you go. Take a couple friends. So the other one, now recently on the news, what do you think of high wire acts, Tyler?
Do you have a high wire opinion?
Do I have a high wire opinion? I don't know. I think the whole reason you go to see a high wire act is to see him fall, but then you don't really want to see him fall because that means somebody died.
I'm going to sound insensitive. I want to see them fall.
It's like going to see
Why do you want?
NASCAR
Yeah, you
events.
want them to crash.
Exactly.
So recently, a video was released of a high wire act in Florida, where it's one of those deals where there's 4 on the bottom, 3, then 2. That was a pyramid, and they were practicing, but they didn't have a net for some reason. And it's all on the. They put this on.
Tyler's not down with this at
They
all.
put it on Good Morning America. It showed it. They fell, all of them.
How high of a high wire are we?
About 50 feet in the air.
Oof.
No one died, but there was a lot of
broken bones.
A lot of
Yeah.
broken
Sure.
bones. So my point is, I don't feel sorry for them. They know the risk going in. If you're an alligator wrestler,
Yeah.
and an alligator bites you in the face, you deserve that, right? If you have a magic act with lions and the lion eats you, you deserve that.
I feel like
That's my
I
feelings.
feel
on it.
like more people, and I'm not trying to call Tyler. I feel like more people say that they're like, "Oh, it would suck to see someone get hurt," but you're watching it to watch someone bite.
that's
you know what I mean?
100%
Like,
it,
yeah,
right? Like-
it's like you say that, like, "Oh man, someone got hurt." That's it. But in the back of your head, like, "Fucking A, right? I need to see that person drop." You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
What was that? A year or so ago, there was a high wire act guy that was on television. He was walking between, I think, across the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
I was praying he fell off. Never did though.
yeah,
Well, it's like you ever see those YouTube videos of like the extreme parkour guys who will climb
Oh,
something
yeah,
super
yeah.
high.
take that, man.
And right, well, it gives
they're
me,
on
yeah.
like a BMX bike on a
Oh,
sky
yeah.
scraper. It's like, dude, what the?
And you're just hoping they fall. At least
Well,
I
that's
am.
kind of what you're watching it for, right? Like
Yeah.
in the back of your mind, it's floating there. You're like, this guy might fall.
Now, on the same token, if a guy's working and he's a roofer and he falls off,
right.
I feel bad for that guy. He's making a living in that.
Yeah,
A guy's working in a warehouse and a pallet falls on him. Okay, I feel bad for that guy. But if you're an asshole on a high wire and you fall off, you're wrestling a lion and you bit, I don't feel sorry for it. If you're Steve Irwin and a stingray zaps you, you know what? You're rolling the dice for years, buddy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Steve Irwin was playing with fire.
Yes, he
Yeah.
was. So I just don't feel sorry for those people. And I know everyone sits there and takes the time and goes, oh, it feels so bad. No.
I think they say that because I think they're supposed to.
Yeah,
yeah.
you're
well,
supposed
maybe
to.
It's like when you're watching America's Got Talent. Did you see the couple that the chick fell?
Yes. That was the best episode.
Oh, it's some compelling stuff, man. It's compelling.
Even though they really drugged that out and went to commercial 3 times before they
I
showed it.
DVR that show for that reason. Never watch it live. Rookie move.
So I know I'm maybe insensitive, but I'm just saying if you do some bungee jumping, right? If you're like a 400-pound dude bungee jumping, I'm praying it snaps. You should not be doing that. You know. So skydiving, that's another one. I don't feel sorry for you if you splat. Anyway, that's Insensitive Steve signing off. No.
Sensitive
wow.
Steve, that's a good segment. I like that segment.
All right. So that's going to be the end of the podcast. I want to thank Tyler, the Caveman Elkins. Again, tell them where they can get that great book of yours.
You can get it at the Asylum Collectibles in Dearborn Heights on Van Born Road. You can get it at Green Brain Comics in Dearborn. You can get it off of our website, threewisemenmedia.com. Yeah, and that's about it.
Now, tell Clash Management how you're going to sell that belt unless they put you on the poster.
They got to get me on the poster, or we're just going to sell it. You're right. We're going to go on Facebook. We're going to have Steve list it. We're going to get some. We're going to go to the Asylum. We're going to get some good knives.
We're going to meet some sketchy guys in a parking lot somewhere.
In a Meyer parking lot.
Oh, could you imagine the people that follow Clash that would show up to buy that belt? They got to be some crazy people. So, all right. Until next week, this is Steve and
Charles.
We'll catch you next time.